They called it the capsizing of the boats, smaller boats, of course, that came ashore, 13 in all. And upon crashing against the rocks, they sat for a while. And one by one, they all stepped off. And in their separate little groups of 6, one stood in the middle. And each one of the 13 groups that later became the 13 colonies all put some type of precedence on this land. And the one that comes in mind to me with these gas prices oh so high, supporting people on opposite shores as we once again take the blunt force of the economic turmoil associated with actions of our leaders here in the United States. There shall be no taxes imposed upon the people of this great land unless faced in the presence of war. And with that, they set forth to commit large quantity and spread of genocide, for they are called the Americans. The perpetual motion, never ending throughout history, the engagement of war for the imposing upon others with taxation without any type of representation, that is the United States of America. And throughout all this time and all this history, no one has ever stood up for the common man, the common woman, and the children that are left behind to manage this mess. And so once again, the United States of America steps into other people's business. Why do they do that? Because that's their cash flow. There will never be a time of peace here in the United States. There will never be a time of rest here in the United States. Because when one issue is settled to a little low simmer, they will once again raise us forth, not as immediate engagement in what they have already pre-planned for themselves to keep these taxes in motion to support them and their people, which are the government employees. But they will play these little games like Rockabye Baby. And until people in large quantities and masses start standing up and stop kissing their fucking asses, these things will never change. You all need to Google the U.S. debt clock. That is the debt we carry on our backs. We are, by all measures of the meaning of the word, slaves. We are enslavatory. It will never end because people are not taking things seriously. And with every step and every motion that they make, all on their own without ever bringing it to a pure vote, which by the way is required, they cannot make decisions all on their own. And it has nothing to do with Congress approving things. The people must levitate their voices to be heard. And as long as you sit back and allow these things to happen and prices continue to climb and they continue to print fake money not backed by a single thing, because those things have already been gobbled up and disposed of a long time ago. The wavering line for me is always with the G, H, and the I. Because if you ever bring me on that line, the one that stands in the middle, under the name Hiawatha, and I go to I, then all the history just comes right back. I don't care how many books of the truth you hide, it will come forth, almost like leaves floating in the water, reassembling themselves into pages, also known as books. And right before H, there's a G. And G is called genocide. And the United States is famously known for genocide. Not only here in the United States, amongst all these people, all the people that they previously laid down so that they could acquire land that was never theirs to begin with, so they could chop it up into little sections and sell it out and make people believe that they're going to someday have ownership over a section of land, when in all reality they already incorporated everything under these little villages, these little towns, these counties, and these states. And you never will gain true ownership of any section of land because the government controls everything. But they still can't control their meddling bitch mindset, where they have to step into other countries and cause havoc and then pretend that they're the gods opening up the doors and the floorgates to this place called heaven, which is the United States of America. Ha ha ha. Make us all laugh and make us all fucking puke. Far from it. Genocide goes all the way down to a family line where they target people in small communities that they don't want in their community. They're prejudiced. So if you want to come over here and play the United States of America game, go, by all means, do it. Who's stopping you? We don't have any border control here. We have no security here. There's nobody watching. You can call up fraud all day long. Do you actually think a posse of people are actually going to address those issues and those concerns for you? No, trust me. I have done many, many years of whistleblowing, and it ended up pushing me on the streets. The United States is pure fraud right from its inception. The concept of the American dream is so bogus. If it doesn't apply to all individuals, then it's nothing but a nightmare, far from a dream. So wake up, people. If you don't like taxes, you don't like the cost of your gasoline or the prices on your grocery store shelf, that's because your national debt is so out of control and you're not pressing people to pay that debt down. Now, why should we be responsible for paying any debt? The government doesn't pay their debts. They just keep piling the shit on. They keep printing money that is not backed by a solid thing. Nothing sellable to anybody of interest other than their human capital, which goes back to slavery. And that's what we are. You might as well print the numbers on our bodies and inject us with that little ID, because we're slaves, each and every one of us. And I don't care if you're living in a house or living in a car or living on the street, you're still a slave. So walking around thinking you're all big and bad and hot shit when you don't even want to recognize the truth. You're living in la la land. So wake up, slave. Slave to slave communication going on right here. Wake the fuck up.